So we're here with Anthony Gutierrez. He is a contestant on The Ultimate Fighter this season. We're excited to have him. He's going to come in each week, kind of give us a little bit behind the scenes, his insight to what happened in the episode the night before. So thanks for coming, Anthony, and we're real excited.
Happy to be here. I'm from Lee Summit, Missouri, and I train in Lee Summit at a gym called Grindhouse. There's a lot of notable fighters that train out of there: James Krause, Tim Elliott, Zach Cummings, Brian Davidson. We have a lot of names out there and a lot of good coaching. So that's where I come from, and all my credit as far as my fighting talents come from is definitely from that gym. Shark bait, it comes from, I got it when I was 15 and I met Krause, Brian, like fighters like Eric Marriott. I started training with those guys. They had already been really successful amateur fighters. They were already 9-0, 8-0, 10-0. So I would train with them, and they would just beat the crap out of me. It wouldn't even be competitive. I was 15, so I'm small now. I was smaller then, and they would just beat me up every day. And so, like, when I had my rounds to go with them, they'd call me shark bait because I could never hang with them. And basically, I was just sitting at home, and I was watching some UFC fights, and Dana White had announced that it was going to be the first season of 135-pound women and 135-pound men. So it immediately, drew a lot of buzz to me for two reasons. One, there was going to be women in the Ultimate Fighter, which is crazy, and then two, that it's 135 pounds, which is my weight class I fight in. So I was like, oh wow. But I hadn't fought in 2 years from prior to me seeing that commercial because I had labrum and rotator cuff surgery. So I was thinking to myself, I'm not sure if I want to even try out because I might want to take an easier fight or let my shoulder heal up a little more before I fight at that competition. But I thought, oh, I'll try out anyways. So I flew out to Vegas, and the tryouts process starts with about 600 people that come down and try out. You fill out this big sheet of packet, big old whole bunch of forms. Fill out the forms, and basically you have to be 21 and you have to have a winning professional record. And so they kind of dwindle through all the people's packets and stuff, which takes hours to figure out who they want to even go on to the next round. And so they cut that down to about 400, 300 guys, and then you go into the grappling rounds. You have to grapple everybody, and then after you grapple, then they call who goes on to the next round. Then you hit pads. After you hit pads, then they call you on to the next round. Then you're at the Fox producer talking to them, and then basically you would usually fly home, and they call out 50 guys, the final 50, and those final 50 stay in Vegas, and the UFC pays for your stay for 5 days. When they narrowed it down to the 50, we stayed for another 5 days, and pretty much just a whole bunch more interviews with Fox. And then they sent us home after 5 days and said, you'll be getting a call, regardless if you made it or didn't make it, you'll be getting a call. And then I got an email, and then I called the guy, and the guy was like, yeah, be ready to fight, you're fighting. And I was like, sweet. So then I knew that I was just going to make the first episode to have a chance to fight. So I looked at it as a win-win. I was like, right on.
Heck yeah.
I've been out for 2 years, and now I get this opportunity to fight, so I'll fight for sure. I've had 23 fights, and so only 4 pro fights, but I had 20 amateur fights, 24 fights. Yeah, and
good math.
24. And so like they're used to the fights and stuff.
Right.
And I had told like my mom's the one that really gets nervous, and I'll tell her like, oh, this fight's gonna be for the UFC, like I'm kind of freaking out, but I was like, let her know I probably have fought a guy better than the guy I would fight there.
Oh, that's
already,
good. So reassure her a little bit.
Yeah, she clutches her rosary beads and her Bible.
Right.
During the fights. I had done a few interviews with Dana White at the tryouts, and then before my fight, I was just like a brief, quick, like hello, and like good luck kind of thing.
Yeah.
And this is like right before the fight. But with Rhonda, I hadn't even met her yet. There was like a tent where fighters and family members who got to come watch the first fight. There was a tent where they had catered in food and like a picnic area and stuff like that. And I was the 14th out of 16 fights. And so I was like really hungry, and so I had my gloves on and everything, so I went out there and was eating because it was only like the 7th or 8th fight, and Rhonda was out there, so I just sat down with her and was eating next to her, and I was like, hey, I'm just gonna let you know I'm about to win this fight, and then you gotta pick me. Sure.
How about any of the other girls in the house?
I wasn't big.
I saw a teaser. I saw a little teaser of you and a girl. No?
Like, I basically told my corner, I see Tim Elliott came with me down there to watch my fight.
Okay.
And I know how the Ultimate Fighter fights are always set up, and the bleachers for the fans are always right by the cage. So I told Tim, like, dude, I'm just going to listen to you, so you scream and corner me, and I'm going to tell my corner that I'm not going to really be paying attention to him. So I just told my corner, my buddy's here, I'm going to listen to my buddy. If you guys see anything in between rounds, let me know. But other than that,
Okay.
I'm not gonna like really listen to you guys.
Tim has a pretty distinct voice, so.
Yeah, he does.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good guy to have in your corner.
Yeah, he was.
Was he the only one that came to watch?
No, Tim and his dad, and then my mom and dad did.
Awesome.
Yeah. Guys that stuck out in my head were Chris Holdsworth. I had already fought him as an amateur, and he had beat me, and so I've actually trained with him a lot. We fought each other like in 2009. I think I was 19. I think we fought in Las Vegas, and he was living there at the time, so that's where we fought each other because he was living there. And then I went out to California to train in Sacramento, and he hit me up on Twitter. We hadn't talked to each other since the fights. He's like, I see you're training with Team Alpha Male a little bit. How do I get out there? And then I just hooked him up to go out there. So we became friends. But when I saw that he made the show and was on there, I was like, he's really good. But I know how to beat him, but he definitely knows how to beat me too.
Yeah, that's good.
So initially the first two guys that I was kind of worried about fighting were Cody Bollinger and Chris Holdsworth. So I was kind of in my head thinking I would like to be on their team, so I would have to fight them right away. Turns out they were on the other team, but it didn't bother me because at the same time I had my mindset of like you're not going to be able to control who you fight, and you're down to fight anybody here, so it's all good. And but then I learned later on in the show, I had this thinking that, you know, I'm Chris Holdsworth and Cody Bollinger, those are guys that I don't want to fight till the end. All the guys were tough, and I wasn't even right about, you know, everything.
So, after seeing the first episode, what do you think of the coach's reaction to your fight? Do you agree? Did you feel it was more intense than they let on?
Oh, no, I wouldn't argue what was said. I mean, the thing that I thought was kind of entertaining about our fight was it was back and forth. He was winning, almost got a finish, and then I came back and almost finished him. And then the third round was kind of even to like the last 2 minutes. But there were a lot of dull moments in the fight, but there was a lot of scrambles and good stuff too. But the way I mean, it wasn't anything special to argue or anything like that.
So I'm going to say a word, and you have to say the very first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Can you handle this?
Yeah. What if something dirty comes up?
That's okay. Animal.
Cracker.
Cage.
Fire.
James Krause.
Puss.
Ronda Rousey.
Hot.
Shark.
Bait.